Hi guys, welcome to the week 5 exam video lesson. So the technique portion of the exam, which is the full technique routine in the key of D, is attached separately, so you'll complete that as part of the exam. And then I'm just going to be going over the other items that are going to be part of your exam. So you'll have some choices of solo repertoire, and then you're going to be playing Rainy Day Song and Celestial Music, which I also went over in the week 3 video, but I'll be going over in a little bit more detail this time. So let's go ahead and go through the solo rep options. And I'm just going to basically, play these through. Nothing too complicated. I'll give some general suggestions and tips, but of course, if you want to see anything in a little bit more detail or need some specific help with your practice, do let me know and I'm more than happy to help. So the first one is Bagatelle on page 186 to 187. So this one is one to just keep an eye out for the changes in clef in the left hand. We start out in treble clef in the beginning and the end. Also take note of the repeated sections. So like the first 8 measures are nearly identical to the second 8 measures, which are quite close to the last 8 measures. And then there's just that B section in the middle. You're going to want to make sure that you keep a nice, light, bouncy wrist with the right hand so that you can clearly articulate the difference between the staccatos and the legatos. And also keeping in mind, keeping the left hand legato in the B section. So as always, I would definitely play through hands separately first, practice in short sections. This is a great one to just practice, one day learn 4 measures, the next day learn the next. By that, you'll kind of have learned the whole first section. So working in small chunks and working hands separately with this one will be great. And I'll play it, again, at a aspirational tempo. So kind of to give you an idea of how it will sound, a really good performance, but good performance tempo. But you do not have to play it quite this fast. A little bit slower would be fine, but if you want to even do it a little bit faster, that'd probably also be fine. So here we go. Time on left hand, whatever. And I won't do the repeats on that, but yeah, the beginning there, I start up with the left hand doing, and that's not how you do it, it's just, so just keep that in mind. So then the next thing that we'll try is the next solo rep option would be the Pioneer Spirit from 196 to 197. So this one follows some pretty traditional key areas for almost like a 12-bar blues. So we see that we have the G position, 5th, 6th, 7th, 6th, 5th, 6th, 7th. We do that again, and then we go up to C, 6th, 7th, 6th, 5th, 6th, 7th. And then over on the second page, we go into a kind of a D area. And then we also have that same pattern of intervals in the right hand where we have 6th, 5th, 4th. So just keeping an eye out, again, if you can recognize those intervals pretty easily and keep this one nice and light and bouncy, this one will sound great. So here is this one from the beginning. it says lively, and it definitely sounds good at a lively tempo, but a little under that would be just fine. So we'll go ahead, and next one is the Minuet in D minor on page 208. So this one is a little bit more on the short and sweet side. So this is the one that is in the ternary 3-part form. So we have sort of a direct modulation from the minor to the relative major. You definitely want to pay attention to these octaves. Keep a nice, loose, relaxed wrist. And especially in this section here, with your left hand, make sure that you're following the correct finger numbers, and that will be really easy. Same thing with the right hand. And this one does not need to be very fast at all. Solo rep option is Jig on page 221. And I will not even disclose for how long I thought that it was pronounced Gigwe. But we don't have to talk about that. So I'm just going to play. Did I play this one on the video? I just don't think I played this on the week 4 video. Why? Not sure. Interesting. Okay, well, let's just go ahead and play this one. This is the last solo rep option for the final exam. On that one. I did play that one in the exam. I don't know why that, or not the exam, on the week 4 video. It's very late. So now we'll go over to the items that you guys will have for the score reading. So we will have Celestial Music and Rainy Day Song. So first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to play through Rainy Day Song, and I'm going to play the violin part first, and then I'll play the viola part. The right hand part is pretty easy because it's just written in a regular clef that we normally read in treble clef. So I'll just play that through really quick. Back to the beginning. And here we go. And then I'll play through the viola part, and for the viola part, I'll say the pitch names out loud. I would encourage you to not write in all these pitch names. If you need to maybe write in a couple of them, I think that that will be fine, but I would really encourage you, this is just so that you can check to make sure you're doing it right, but you're gonna need to learn to read alto clef with a moderate level of proficiency. And so don't cheat yourself out of that learning opportunity, but you could use this as an opportunity to kind of just double check to make sure that you've got it right. So we're starting on E, 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 D, D, E, E, F sharp, E, F sharp, G, B, A, G, F sharp, D, back to the beginning, E, E, D, D, E, E, F sharp, G, B, A, G, F sharp, E, D, E, 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 D, 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 E, E, D, E, D, E, E, F sharp, E, E. Okay, now I'm going to play both parts together. In the video lesson where we talked about this one, I said that it would be okay to play this one with just one hand, so to play it both with right hand or left hand. I am updating that recommendation to say I actually think it's a lot easier to play with one hand, and that's perfectly fine. You do not need to play it with right hand and left hand. In fact, it's great to be able to read two different clefs and put them together in one hand, and I actually think it makes it quite a bit easier. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to show playing it that way, but you're also welcome to play it with right and left hand. That's just fine. So here we go. Back to the beginning. There we go. And then we'll move over to celestial music. So the way that we're going to do it for this one, I don't even think it's worth practicing the alto and tenor part separately. I think that that's kind of, you're going to use different fingers than you're going to need to put them hands together. So we're going to practice the alto and the tenor part together, and then we're going to practice the bass part, and then we'll put it all together. The really important thing to notice here is what do you hear? Parallel thirds. The entire thing, almost. The only place where we're not in parallel thirds is right here at the beginning of measure 5. We have a sixth, a B and G, then back 2/3, and then unison. That's it. So we're going to go ahead and do just that alto and tenor part together again, then the bass part, and then we'll put the whole thing. Ready, go. So because it's in parallel thirds almost the entire time, you can just kind of memorize that goes out to a sixth right there and then the unison at the end. So that really means, do you have to read both notes? No, you can just read like the alto note and play a third below it the whole time. And it's super easy. So here's the bass part. With some of the bass parts before, you're really going to help yourself out if you can try to practice this bass part without looking at your fingers. There's a lot of times people do this, you know, they're just looking back and forth the entire time. That is, first of all, a lot of effort when you're just doing one hand, and it's impossible. It's like juggling when you're trying to do both hands, looking at both hands, and looking back through music. Impossible. So try to get where you can play it without staring at your hands, and that will be really helpful. So here we go. Easy enough. So that's all that we have for the exam this week. I know that may seem a little bit like you're like, yeah, that's all great. Just 2 score readings and a bunch of scales and all this other good stuff. But that really is, that's it. And again, if you have been practicing those score readings since week 3, probably not too bad. They're pretty easy. They're really nothing like, again, last semester's, the Danny Boy situation. Danny Boy was terrible. So again, this is significantly easier than that, I think. So, take your time, practice the parts separately, mark your music as you need to, and this will, I think, go really easily and not be too hard at all. So do let me know if you have any questions, and I will look forward to listening to your exams, and see you next time.